Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're taking a look here at Bitcoin, seeing what's going on, of course, helping you understand best practice and big picture for this coin. And more importantly, kind of just taking a look at the CPI data. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin dominance, traditional markets, kind of see what's factoring in here, because obviously this correction there's a catalyst, right? And that catalyst was CPI data being 8.3%, which is essentially 0.2% higher than it was expected. And that causes a ripple in the market. Of course, that's what we're seeing here. Some profits are definitely being taken. So what we want to look at is to try to identify support and resistance levels and kind of understand, again, what the best practices would look like in a situation like this. So that being said, I'm not a financial advisor, keep that in mind. I do love teaching people to trade though. So if you do want to become a better trader, CryptoCache.tech is a website. Link in the description below. I do working with you there. I actually have a trading academy, community and signal group. We've got a very active, awesome community, and we're all learning and growing together. So it's fantastic as well. And also wanted to kind of touch base with you as well regarding Bitget. They actually have a really awesome bonus for registering. So be sure to check that out in your own time. It's probably it definitely is my favorite exchange. I like it a lot better than ByBit now. So I can tell you that Bitget is a very, very good exchange. Please make sure you consider using that. And all you have to do is transfer over, funds and effectively leave it in your account for over 5 days, and you get transferred some USDT. It's really awesome. Check that out. Again, in your own time, link in the description below and comments. So here's the thing with Bitcoin. Big picture here, we've got some positive and some negative. Obviously, the negative is the elephant in the room, which is effectively the price action being down a total of 9.5% from top to bottom. Okay, so in its range today so far, it's decreased by 9.5%, and that happened in less than 5 hours. Right? Most of it happened in 1 hour, of course, when CPI data was released this morning at approximately 5:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So all in all, that's kind of where we're at there for the overall obvious factors. What leads into that, of course, is support and resistance levels. What we want to do is kind of identify that. So good news is we've got 50 on the RSI, tentatively working as a support. I say tentatively because we haven't closed this candlestick yet, and we could very well see a pullback to perhaps 21,000 or maybe even higher. So if we can close above 50 on the RSI, I think that would be a positive sign. So in other words, nothing lower than where we're at right now at 20,000, roughly 800. Okay. So that'd be positive in that sense. For now, it's working tentatively as a support, so I guess we could say it's a consolation. Taking a look at the moving averages though, we can see 50 was short-lived. Unfortunately, 50 and of course our volume profile visible range, basically, essentially giving us an indication at 21,500-ish, 21.6, right in that range, should have been a support level. It worked as a strong resistance in the past and should have worked as a support, but CPI data had a different game in mind, okay? So again, that's when a fundamental catalyst can affect the price action and the technical analysis. Unfortunately, all those support levels don't really matter when the market essentially turns upside down. Speaking of market, let's go ahead and touch base on the traditional markets here. Nasdaq is down by 4% and 3% for S&P. These are like monstrous numbers. Like that's we're actually lucky to only have a 9.5% correction from Bitcoin. It should actually be larger based on how severe this turnaround is. I mean, those gaps down were significant. Okay, so all that progress of the last 3 trading days in the traditional market is completely wiped out. So unfortunately, that's kind of where we're at there in that sense. And of course, we can see, big surprise, Bitcoin dominance on a significant decrease here. Okay, so that's another reason why, if you've seen my Terra Classic videos, they have a tendency of going opposite of the actual dominance, right? Because when money comes away from Bitcoin, it goes to other altcoins, and the largest altcoin right now is taking a lot of that volume, right? So Terra Classic is essentially getting a lot of that. Regardless, that's not what we're here for. Just saying that in general, it's kind of an inverse pairing there, so to speak. Just a nugget of information for you. But bottom line, Bitcoin dominance is down, and Bitcoin has essentially had a major sell-off today. So anyways, that's the overall sense of things. The traditional markets is not good. Bitcoin dominance is down, and what do you know? Dollar index is up. It just shot up above its key level resistance, and we're just going to see this constant battle until it figures out what direction it wants to head. So today's going to be interesting. I think we're going to see the price action slowly recover, personally. I don't think it's going to be immediate, but we got to recognize that we do have a trend line here, right? And this trend line is essentially holding still right concurrent with the 50-day set moving average on the 4-hour. So we hypothetically could see a bounce here. I think it's less likely, but it is a possibility. right? What is a more likelihood, of course, is for the price action to sell off a little further and kind of get to that exhaustive state and then to bounce back and recover. So 20,500, I would say, is probably more of a realistic support level versus 20,800 and or 21,000. But we got to just kind of wait for the day to close first to kind of see where we stand. Okay, so again, all good stuff there in that sense. The adverse stuff, of course, is the MACD divergence. We can see that was a pretty strong rip to the downside there, but it makes sense because it was overextended. Bitcoin was absolutely overextended, and of course CPI data came out negatively. Hadn't the CPI data came out, I think we possibly could have seen a bounce off about 21,600 and then continued higher. That would have made a lot more sense. But it obviously makes sense where we're at right now too. Okay, so again, not terrible, we're not in dire straits. We're still above this descending trend that we had, the bearish trend, and I think as long as we remain above that, we'll be in good shape. RSI is under 50, so obviously in that sense, the midterm here is telling us that it's bearish on the midterm. That's essentially what it's telling us. And that's not bad, it's just is what it is, right? We just kind of got to accept that. But here is the elephant in the room there. Hey, CPI data, terrible, 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 going down. So in that sense, if we take a look at TD sequential, we can see we're at a 5. So hypothetically, we've got about 4 to 8 hours left of bearish continuation of the downside. Okay, so I wouldn't expect this to stop anytime soon, but I would expect 20,500 to provide a potential relief support there. Just based on that being a previous level, you can kind of see the price action had some difficulty in crossing this plane here before, right? And that essentially translates to a support level. So in that sense, 20,500 I would say is a support, and moving forward, what we want to look at is a couple of things here. I think we lost, pretty obvious, we did lose the cloud. So what this is telling us here is that we have, in most cases, minus the actual conversion line and baseline being overlapped, we have a signal here per se. Don't take this literally, but this is a sign of a short position. In other words, you want to keep it open if you have it open. Not necessarily opening it right now would be ideal. I think it would be disadvantageous to open a short right now, depending on how long you hold it. If you're just going to have a really tight profit target, maybe, but I don't think we should expect the price action to go much further below 20,500. Again, tentatively, we got to expect that to potentially hold. But for now, we're 5 hours into this continuation. We're below the cloud, and conversion lines. Conversion lines actually intersecting with that price action, so that tells us that the momentum is kind of giving us mixed emotions. In other words, it's like a MACD convergence, so to speak, or divergence. We're not seeing that. That's usually what you want to see when those two spread apart. So it really just tells us that taking a short position might be unwise at this exact moment, because there's a decent chance the price action will consolidate and at least go sideways in this range. It's kind of what it's looking like. Again, mostly positive here, but all in all, not great. It's good for what it is, if that makes any sense, but expected considering the data came out poorly. Had the data came out neutral or better, we'd probably still see the price action in the range of 21.6 to 22.5. That being said, all good stuff. I still feel that Bitcoin is in good shape. We shouldn't worry just yet. This is a natural correction. I'm excited to see what's going to happen next. I feel as if we're going to see a bounce off 20,500 and probably be range bound between 20,500 and 21.6 for a little while. That would make sense. Again, we'll see what happens here soon. So I appreciate you joining me here, obviously. If you want to become, again, a better trader, CryptoCache.tech is a website, link in the description below. And obviously, make sure you take advantage of the additional funds you can receive from Bitget. It's a fantastic exchange. I truly do love it. Again, you can use leverage in the United States with no VPN. That's a pretty awesome thing to say. No other exchange that I'm aware of actually offers that, especially with the amount of volume that they have. So I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. You take care. Thank you.